Hey guys, welcome back to Self-Care Haven. I just wanted to make a video today about some recent cases that I've been reading about and what they tell us about the narcissist's ability to use his or her mask to gaslight the public. When we think about pathological narcissists and sociopaths, we usually talk about gaslighting in the context of gaslighting in romantic relationships or friendships or family relationships. But often we forget that important piece of how the narcissist actually gaslights the public into enabling his or her behavior and also ignoring, dismissing, minimizing it. So in the cases of public figures like Bill Cosby or YouTube star Sam Pepper, where there were a lot of allegations against these individuals, there were just as many as there were supporters of the survivors speaking out. There were also many naysayers, people who supported the people being accused, and people who supported that despite mounting evidence. And I want to make a comment about that because I think our culture and the way that pathological narcissism is treated in our culture and society has a lot to do with the way that pathological narcissism is actually treated within the context of relationships. If you notice in the last previous videos that I've made, I've talked a lot about the lack of support that victims can get from their own support network or just from society in general regarding their experiences of narcissistic abuse. Now, this kind of invalidation can come through friends, family members, society, people who doubt you when you tell them your story about this person, especially if they know that person, because they only see that charming facade. It can also come through a mental health professional who might be invalidating, who might not know much about narcissistic abuse, who might not understand the covert methods of gaslighting, stonewalling, triangulation especially. Because in the mental health community, narcissistic abuse is still very new, and we're still learning so much more about it. And as survivors, it's great that we're raising awareness because it is becoming more of a conversation starter, and that's great. We're changing the discourse, and that's amazing. And there are some amazing therapists who are doing incredible work on this issue, and hopefully in a few years we'll see a lot more change across all countries regarding this important topic. And I think that many more people are becoming more aware of psychopathy and narcissism and the fact that, people might not have a conscience. But just as many as there are people who are starting to understand this discourse, there's also many people who don't quite get it. And they are shaming victims, survivors for speaking out. They're trying to silence survivors for speaking out. And not understanding that the backlash and the potential consequences, for example, in the case of, a rape survivor speaking out against her alleged rapist, if he or she speaks out against an alleged rapist, there's so much backlash and so many consequences to consider that it's very unlikely that they would be manufacturing a story like that. When you think about especially female victims who get silenced and shamed in the media, who get stigmatized, who are minimized as attention seekers because they speak about their sexual assault, their rape. When you think about the backlash and the potential consequences of that, you have to consider that it's very unlikely that somebody would actually manufacture a story like that when there's so much bullying against victims for even speaking out in the public. So given that, and given the fact that there are still people who really support victim shaming, whether it's sexual assault, whether it's narcissistic abuse, whether it's just in general abuse and trauma that a survivor has experienced and is speaking out about and has been brave enough and courageous to speak out about despite those consequences, and we think about how they receive that sort of backlash, you have to understand that that's also a result of the narcissist's ability, the pathological narcissist or sociopath's ability to gaslight the public into believing in his or her charming exterior. So narcissists don't just gaslight us, they gaslight the rest of society. They gaslight their harem. They gaslight every stranger that they come across. They are able to do so effectively because they are so charming, because they're so charismatic, and because they're usually very likable. And, they really present this image of themselves that they are here for the good of society. And they're able to dupe and convince a lot of different people, even mental health professionals, and couples therapists. So we have to really remember when we're talking about gaslighting that the narcissist doesn't just gaslight us, they gaslight everyone to an extent. Of course, there's more gaslighting involved in the intimate relationship, but the biggest act of gaslighting that they do often is within the first interaction with a stranger. So when we think about how often a narcissist is able to convince other people of their false mask, we have to start unlearning this idea that everyone has a conscience, that everyone has the ability to empathize. And just because someone who shows remorse for what they've done, even when they minimize their accountability, their own accountability for their actions, and they're able to kind of sweep everything under the rug with an apology, we have to remember that even pathological narcissists, especially pathological narcissists and sociopaths, are capable of showing false remorse. They're capable of crying crocodile tears. They're capable of fooling the public. So I just brought up those cases as examples, but really I'm talking about any case where a survivor speaks out. They're shamed for speaking out, and they're silenced, they're bullied, they're stigmatized for speaking out against this really well-loved figure. And I really want to have society unlearn this idea that everyone that they see, the exterior of that person, is really their true self. We don't really know who's who. We have to understand that we have to get to know a person before we start assuming things about their ability to have a conscience, their ability to have empathy, and their ability to be a functional adult in a relationship, or even a healthy member of society. So I hope this message is a timely one. I hope this is a message that we all need to hear. I hope this is a message that speaks to you. Have you seen your narcissist gaslight the public? I'm sure you have. So if you have, please do leave me a comment below. And I'm sure a lot of you have interacted with narcissists who are in public roles, in positions of power, in positions of charity perhaps, or even in positions that are helping professions. So please do share your stories if you do have one regarding that, because I think society needs to learn that narcissists can come from very different backgrounds, professionally and personally, and we have to start unlearning this idea that only a certain type of person can be a pathological narcissist, because really anyone can be. And we have to understand that with that statistic of, especially in the United States, 1 in 25 people being a sociopath, we have to start unlearning this idea really quickly and take our time in getting to know people. And if someone does make an accusation against someone, start to see both sides of the story and really don't let your own bias of that charming exterior fool you, because, if many survivors are speaking out against this person, it's very possible that that person is at fault for something, and that there is a hidden part of them that we're not seeing. So just food for thought. I hope this video helps. I hope this video provokes discussion and debate, and I hope to talk to you very soon. Actually, I'm planning to make another video right after this, so I will talk to you very soon. Until then, take care. The narcissist's public mask gaslights the public. Malignant narcissists and sociopaths can fake remorse very convincingly, can say sorry, and can dupe the public into believing they are the innocent ones when they are exposed. Survivors of their abuse and mistreatment can speak very well to this truth, because they've witnessed the horrific unmasking of these pathological individuals firsthand. Unfortunately, the narcissist's harem does not believe in the abuse. Society often enables the abuse and shames the victim into silence for speaking out against the terrors they've experienced. It is unlikely that survivors of a narcissist's maltreatment would manufacture a story against them, open themselves up to public criticism, and risk being re-traumatized if they did not experience it firsthand. Many survivors end up sharing their stories not just for themselves, but to save the lives of others from these predators.